Hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. When we left off, we sent a rescue mission up and saved Jebediah and Rolly from space, as well as recovered some alien technology. From the alien technology, we've been able to learn a little bit more about warp drive. We know we need to create negative energy, though it didn't exactly have a manual on how to create that, so we still don't quite know how the aliens have mastered that. But we also found out how the station was communicating so quickly with another planet, presumably in another solar system, or maybe even a galaxy. It has been sending all clear messages monthly to a base on the moon. This base then relays the messages in a sort of subspace frequency that travels faster than light, almost instantly across the universe. But yes, that means that there is a second alien craft still in our solar system. We couldn't detect it with our tracking station because it was too far away, but we are now sending our Munar Destroyer, a quick craft we put together, and it's going to use some missiles. We've returned to our old manufacturer. The skillful weapons were not quite doing the damage we'd hoped. So we've returned to the laser-guided missiles. We're actually going to be doing an orbital flyby and then launching the missiles from a very, very low altitude orbit, and then trying to immediately return back to Kerbin because we'll be plummeting towards the ground at basically orbital velocity. But yes, we're trying to do this as fast as we can. We're purposely coming in on the opposite side of the moon as where the station is, so that it won't see us until we're right on top of it and we can put our missiles down. And look at that beautiful shot. Kerbal Space Program is very good at making things really pretty. Alright, so we're approaching the moon. Our periaps is already pretty close. I'm just playing around with the maneuver node and decide that the best place is still the periaps, even though the ship we're trying to fly over isn't quite on the opposite side of the moon. So we get our orbit down, or at least the maneuver orbit down to almost touching the ground, probably clipping it if we don't do a correction right after we fire our missiles. But now let's go ahead and do this burn. This engine, it's one of the NASA Pack engines, and it is really surprisingly efficient. Usually those heavy lifting engines don't tend to move that much. And we overburn a little bit and bury our orbit into the ground. So we're going to have to be sure to get that maneuver done. But I'm going to go ahead and uncouple from the stage. It was a little rough. I was kind of predicting it would be rough, which is why I folded in the solar panels. But as you can see there, the stage, the transfer stage, is actually flying in front of us. And for a while I was kind of concerned that it would fly over the base and alert them of our presence. But as you can see here, I end up passing it again, and I will be the first thing to cross over the subspace relay base, or whatever it is. But we are arming all of our technology, the lasers guiding technology system, and we're going ahead flying. It gives us a very nice overlay. And we are also going to have a camera to verify the hit on the target. So as we approach, the missiles are armed. They've probably noticed us by now and are sending up a message, but we are hoping these missiles will reach them before it is sent off to the planet. Approaching the target, we can see it there, and we do have a hit, a direct hit, and the second missile lands right next to it, probably destroying any debris that would have been left behind. Alright, well, I would call that a successful mission. We need to make sure that we don't crash into the moon, though. And let's go ahead and do an aero brake. I have installed deadly reentry, so this return to Kerbin could very easily become pretty dangerous because we're coming out from so far. So I'm going to go ahead and skip a little, or just, slip a little bit into the atmosphere to try to slow myself down, and probably wait to fully return to Kerbin on a second orbit, or maybe go into a circular parking orbit and select a landing site. But let's go ahead and fly towards Kerbin. We're coming in. My periaps is a little higher than my map view was predicting. I guess that's just what happens when you're using a tracking station and math to try to find out your exact orbit. We can calculate exact orbits, it's just we don't have valves on rocket engines that turn off fast enough to hit the mark perfectly. We're not quite slowing down enough, so I go ahead and do a quick burn at periaps. And then I notice where the space center is and actually try to land at it. I'm going to keep my engine pod just in case we come up short or go long, I guess. And we go ahead to keep going. We're still in the atmosphere. And now we leave so we can actually time warp. And beautiful sunrise. Once again, Kerbal Space Program making things very, very pretty. But it looks like we're coming in all right. I keep the engine on for a little bit more. Do a quick little slowing burn, and I think that's going to put me where I want to go. At least on the continent, hopefully on the opposite side of the mountain range. The one thing I don't want to happen is actually landing in those mountains. It looks like we're going to slow down just fine though. So I go ahead and jettison the capsule. You can see it has a heat shield on it, which actually blends in very nicely with the default texture. Deadly Ranger did a very good job of that. The only complaint I have is it colors. It gets bright orange, but the capsule doesn't. And oh dear, I think we are going to hit the mountains. Well, that was very poorly done. So I pulled the parachute early. I hope that we stopped before, but it looks like we're going to be in the hills, and I just hope this is a nice flat spot that's not going to kill us. It looks like it's sharp. I'm just hoping we're not going to roll. We destroy the heat shield, but we are good. Alright, this has been another successful mission. It was a short, pretty simple episode, but I assure you in the next episode we will be doing a lot more.